All right, good afternoon or morning or evening or wherever the fuck you are, everybody. Welcome to the Wolf's Word. I've got here with me today Fox from the West, and today we're going to be doing a real-time reaction commentary on a stream that Steve Shives was a part of yesterday on the channel American Anarchist. We were in there yesterday, and we were listening to some of the end of it, maybe the last 15, 20 minutes or so.
Well, actually, I listened to about 45 minutes of it, so around like the last hour or so. That was around the time Jeff Holiday actually linked it on Twitter because he found this gold mine.
Oh,
And
it was a gold mine. And needless to say, shit. I was only probably in the last 20, 25 minutes, and even then, shit was kind of going haywire because I remember very, very distinctly. Half the crap that Steve was saying, I just couldn't really register because my brain was hurting. And the rest of the time, I was staring at the chat. And it was hilarious to see literally every other message get deleted by moderators. Even completely innocuous statements.
Yeah, I remember when I was... because the way it works is that you get shadow banned, so you don't know that you've been banned from the chat. But... I was posting completely kiss-ass messages to Steve, like very innocent. I mean, it wasn't deliberately obvious that I was being sarcastic, but I was basically making very innocent sort of statements saying, "Thank you, Steve, for making this point," and things like that. And then I got banned.
Oh yeah, I distinctly remember there was a specific point, and we'll get to it toward the end of their stream, where they're talking about Steve blocking people and how some of the people in the chat were just basically making innocuous statements, like, "Well, Steve had me blocked, and I think it might be because I follow so and so. Is there some way to rectify that?" About 5 seconds later, message deleted. Just completely innocuous shit, like anything that could even remotely make Steve look like he is shit. Then they got rid of it.
Well, you don't have to try that hard.
You really don't.
It's like a house of cards in a sense, except if it's built on an anorexic giraffe scrotum or something like that.
The best thing about Steve Shives is that you don't got to work hard to denigrate him. He does a damn good job on his own. But anyways, I think we're going to go ahead and get started on this thing. And the stream today is brought to us thanks to the magic of Rabbit. Rab.it. Good service. It's a 144 minute and 49 second stream, so just so you're all aware, it's going to be a long commentary. We may have to break this into a two-parter.
And I might I don't know, I might do a stream on my channel later today. I don't know about what, probably just an open subscriber stream. So probably about 9:30, maybe 10, I might, we'll call it a stop. So about 2.5, maybe 3 hours.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan. We'll see how far we can get, and then, worst comes to worst, tomorrow we can finish the rest of it. Or, I don't know, whenever you're available.
Yeah, it should be good tomorrow.
All right. Oh, there's a Tyler Preston, Conflict Hurts, Lothar. Oh, good to see y'all. Anyways, let's get started on this bitch. I think it starts off pretty innocuously, but I'm confident it gets good fast.
And we're live. As you can tell, me and Steve were kind of joking and messing about before the start of it. There's still 0 viewers, so who the hell am I talking to? Steve, I think I'm crazy.
Somebody's going to watch it at some point, so,
Yeah, I know.
He had no idea. He had no idea. And
it's like it's the opposite of a Jew walking into a mosque. It's just a complete lack of self-awareness and astuteness.
Yeah. He knew he was going to be on a stream, and it's like, were you literally not expecting all the shitlords to come out? And
there was a big stream that I was telling you about this before the stream started, and I tweeted it out myself. Academic Agent. There was like a big stream which Academic Agent made sort of a response to. Steve was part of it. It had a lot of the sort of social justice crowd like Christiosity, Kevin Logan, Tim Blake. There's a big sort of group of them. Bronx blogger who's actually been calling me out on Twitter for like for being a fan of Jordan Peterson.
Oh, how dare you!
And insulting Jordan Peterson because he believes in God. God forbid. So, but yeah, Academic Agent has called him out on this before. Everyone has called him out on this before, and he's still. I just don't know the approach to how to deal with someone like Steve Shives, because I think he's just too far gone. I really wish somebody could just sit him down and say, look, these people, we're not evil people. We're just people that disagree with you on the internet. We don't hate you.
See, that's the thing. I get the impression that Steve is at the point where just sitting him down and trying to reason with him and explain things to him won't help, because he's just going to get his ass up and walk away and just call you a racist and a misogynist as he walks out the door. So I honestly think, if you want to really get to Steve Shives and get through to him, I think you literally have to strap him to a chair and just slap him a few times to keep his attention. But maybe that's just me.
Now you're sounding like Luca from my streams.
I know, I'm terrible. Oh, and if there's at any point you want me to pause or anything, then by all means, please do.
Yeah, all right.
Just let me know. Or it's Rabbit. Fuck it, you could take control of the remote. You could steal it from me.
It always happens. There are a few people who have me on notification squad. I mean, I kind of have a lot of luck with my hangouts where generally I don't get a lot of shitlords who come along and do it. The only time I ever really got a shit ton of shitlords was when Bering basically came across because he had some drama with Michael and saw,
and it all came crashing down, didn't it?
I don't really get a lot of shitlords, and that's why I laughed. I don't get a lot of shitlords. Well, you do now, boy.
Michael Rollins is doing a hangout. I'm going to link this hangout, and we've got to troll the hangout chat. And basically, I just...
The ironic
I'm going to link this hangout, and we've got to troll the hangout chat.
The ironic thing is that a lot of the people... There were definitely trolls in the chat, but there were a lot of people there just asking genuine questions that were getting banned by the moderators. Not even that loaded questions. It was things like, could I ask Steve a question? Why do you feel this particular way about an issue? And they were getting banned.
Well, see, that's the funny thing, is that I literally saw somebody just say, hey, Steve, could I ask you a question? That was it. That was the entire statement. Message deleted. I can't grasp why someone would be so fervent to try to ensure that a question cannot be asked, that no inquiries can be made to somebody who's, apparently, they're so open to the idea of decent discourse.
Well, they're not. I don't think it even makes any attempt to hide it anymore. Like, they aren't. I don't think even Steve is trying to hide that anymore. I mean, Kraut even said it, that at least Steve is pretty much upfront that he doesn't want to talk to people that he disagrees with.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at his Twitter feed, that pretty much explains everything.
If you, you can't really look at his Twitter feed because you're blocked by him, can you?
I have multiple Twitter accounts. I can if I feel like it.
Well, I was going to say, just imagine, the way I like to sort of perceive these kind of things, these people on YouTube who make political commentaries, is I like to imagine them on a show like Andrew Marr or Sunday Politics or something like that, and seeing how they would cope there, discussing with people what they disagree with. And someone like Steve Shive would completely... You've seen Alex Jones on on Sunday Politics, haven't you? Like classic segment where he's like, there's an idiot on the program, Andrew Neil. it would be like that. I mean, except even more embarrassing, because at least Alex Jones was entertaining.
Well, I mean, someone like Steve could literally go on Real Time with Bill Maher, which is, compared to someone like Alex Jones, that's a pretty toned down show. You know, I mean, there is some argumentation and everything, and that's understandable, but it's not really fervent. But even Steve Shives can go on something real time with Bill Maher, and just completely fucking buckle under the pressure. I can almost guarantee that, you know, everything out of Steve's mouth would just be one deflection after another, just beating around the bush. He never answering anything directly, because God forbid he gets challenged on it. And no,
Yeah,
CZ Frank, this is not a furry podcast. I just happen to be one, and I hit that topic once in a while.
And basically, I just really had fun putting him into 5 minute long or 6 minute long timeouts, right? No, that's 5 minutes long. My math is off. Yeah. For some reason, I think
Steve
generally
knows that off by heart. I mean, to be fair, I know that off by heart as well, but only because it's an easy number. But that's because I run a lot of streams a lot, and I've only actually timed out like one person because all they did was spam the same line over and over again in the chat. I've only actually banned one person from my chat.
Kind of good for the worker.
Yeah.
I mean, workers in most places are very underpaid. It's unfortunate that to me, it's very unfortunate that it has to go to the people above, and they have to they basically still have to divvy you the money based.
I just want to make sort of a separate point about that Bill Maher thing, because I just had a thought. If Steve is so not willing to talk to people that disagree with him, so not willing to consider their point of view, so not willing to even consider discourse with them, why are you getting involved in politics, Steve? Why?
That's a genuinely good question, and I swear to God, Steve, I know you got me blocked on Twitter, but for fuck's sake, if you ever come to this stream, you'll probably close it in the first 5 minutes because we're shitting on you, but if you ever come to this stream and watch it and get to this point, that's a genuine fucking question. That's a good fucking question. If you're so interested, so concerned with just pushing aside anybody who could have a dissenting opinion to completely ignore anybody who doesn't completely agree with you or your perspectives or your ideology, and you're not willing to engage in any kind of civil discourse, you're not willing to actually sit down and calmly just hash things out, to talk to people and just figure out, okay, this is what we disagree on, and why do we disagree? You tell me your point. You tell me your point. I'll tell you my point. Why are you doing this? Why?
Here's the thing with the social justice YouTubers is that I'm actually willing. You know, people. I've had Kevin Logan on my stream only briefly, and his mic was fucking glitching up, so that wasn't much. And I'm getting Ranting Feminists hopefully later this month on my stream. And I'm open to having people like Tim Blake and Libertarian Socialist Rants, H-Bomber Guy, even though I don't think many of those people will join the stream. I'm happy to have those people on my stream, and I'm happy to be a lot more polite than I am being right now, because I had Naked Ape on my stream, and I kept my cool. I mean, you didn't, Nascatan.
I didn't keep my cool because I don't have patience for bullshit. That's why.
I don't know. I just let him have his little spurg out, but
well, at least you and I can both agree that he's a fucking spurg.
But no, even sort of the social justice wars. If you want to come on, if you want to have sort of a debate, and well, not a debate, but just a discussion about why you feel the way you do, and you know, maybe we can bring up some counterpoints. Maybe we can sort of say, okay, what is your opinion on this position, and we can do it respectfully without, you know, going at each other's throats and without pretensions to righteousness. Because I always go into streams with an open mind. I mean, a lot of what Ape told me about postmodernism was really interesting, and I'd read up a lot more about postmodernism in that stream, after that stream, rather. So I really don't know why these people just... Well, there are some decent people like Tim Blake who will come out and maybe at least have some kind of conversation with you. Even if he's just being a snarky cunt the whole time, at least he's going to that effort to having the conversation. That's a good start.
Yeah, at least he takes the step to actually engage.
And yeah, I'll drop a line to Tim on Twitter. I might even see if I can get him on my on a stream tonight, maybe.
On that, but you're the one doing all the work. You're the one who's earning the money. No,
Yeah.
when you ask to be paid a reasonable amount so that you can survive, they up the prices of their commodities, therefore causing inflation. And now that I think about it, it seems like this turned into a conversation about capitalism.
I'm sorry. I think it just needs to be pointed out here that Mr. American Anarchist doesn't seem to grasp even remotely how fucking inflation works. Oh, they bump up the price of their commodities and that makes inflation. No, you fucking retard. Inflation occurs naturally in this kind of economic system. It occurs all on its own, regardless of any other factor. That is what drives up the price of commodities. You stupid fucking cunt. Just thought I might put that out.
Well, his name is Anarchist, so I don't exactly trust him with the intricacies of economics, because their economic system, the anarchist economic system, is not really one that's been fleshed out.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like walking up to somebody. It's like walking up to a hardcore member of Antifa and asking them, "Can you tell me about Keynesian economics?" You're gonna get nowhere. Anyways, here we go.
It took, what, 3 minutes?
It takes 3 minutes.
It took 3 minutes!
That's one of my big
It took 3 minutes for your wife to finish the hand job.
jokes is
Well, I was gonna go 3 minutes
that,
until I was gonna go 3 minutes until you're blocked on Twitter by Steve, but that's a good one.
Either way, I'm sure they're both well qualified.
people will tell me not to get political, and I'll be like, oh, I won't get political, but 3 minutes into a party, and one drink later, a couple sips of beer later, I'm already talking about liberating the working class, even if it means we have to punch some Nazis and throw some Molotovs into Starbucks.
Oh my god! Like, does he know how to socialize with real life people? People don't want to talk about politics. Like, I talk about politics. The reason why I talk about politics a lot on Twitter and YouTube and other places is because nobody else in real life, people don't want to talk about that. You don't go to a party and then suddenly start going, oh, well, we should talk about the intricacies of the working class. And
well, I mean, it's like it's like in the BLFC stream that I did. It's like, okay, going to a convention, it's like going to a party, it's like going to a meetup or something like that. It's meant to be a social gathering. It's meant to be entertaining. It's meant to be, a place where you can just relax and have fun. But all these fucking spastics feel the need to fucking bring politics into it all the time, and they need to make everybody else in the entire area feel completely uncomfortable. Nobody cares. You're there to enjoy yourself. You're not there to start autistically screeching about Nazis and, you liberate the working class, capitalism bad. Nobody wants to hear that at a party. Nobody wants to hear that.
Even when I'm at my most drunk in a party situation, like, I only sort of briefly touch upon, I know how to carry myself with political nuance. I'm not going to go, Tony Blair was an amazing prime minister in the middle of a pub, am I? Even though I like Tony Blair, I'm not going to say that in the middle of a pub because I'll probably get my head kicked in.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it.
Even at my most drunk. So, just saying things like this, just...
I mean, shit. At least, thankfully, at my most drunk, the most I get is flirtatious. I don't sit there talking to people about, have you considered the virtues of alt-centrism?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, I don't...
I hate that fucking
it's
term.
Just... Nah, it's just a meme term. Like, the only reason...
I know. It's like I told someone earlier who's like, what the hell is alt-centrism? And I'm like, it's a joke playing on, the nonsensical ideas of the alt-right and now this crap they're trying to push about the alt-left.
Well, I just, the only reason I use it is like a tongue-in-cheek term, sort of self-mockery.
Well, yeah, and that's one way it could be used. But for the most part, I see the term alt-centrist is kind of like it's a similar kind of meme as Kekistan. It's a satire.
I guess, yeah.
In a certain
But
respect.
anyway,
So this is a great start, and we haven't even had a proper segue.
No.
Because I'm pretty sure almost everybody who is watching this knows who Steve Shives is.
Ugh.
Hell,
God,
Existential Anarchist is a mutual subscriber.
Their lives must be so empty.
I mean,
well, at least you're honest.
Well, your life would have to be pretty fucking empty to watch Steve on a regular basis. That's for sure.
my life is empty. That's why I have liquor. You know,
I mean, it's like
wine can fill a lot of things. It can fill a cask, an empty heart, empty life.
yeah, well, because it's a liquid, it can fill virtually any space.
Yep.
It changes shape to fill the space that you pour it into.
Yeah, that's how fluid dynamics.
That reminds me of, I forget the name of the cartoon. It was an interesting cartoon. It wasn't the best cartoon, but it was in the 90s. It was they had a little segment, Nostalgia Critic covered it. It was basically some comedian basically tried to not be offensive. And that reminds me of Steve's comedy. He's trying not to be offensive, not realizing that comedy is supposed to provoke and create intrigue. But
of course, at the same time, it must be remembered that these are people who generally have either no or very poor senses of humor.
Work.
That's yeah.
Yeah, right now we have 3 viewers watching.
And I'd just like to apologize. I don't mean to sort of just make this about shitting on what they're saying. It's just they're not saying anything really of substance, and they're 4 minutes in. They're just patting each other on the backs at this point. Like, they're offering nothing of substance, so...
Hey,
We've got nothing to work
anarchist,
with.
do you want to suck my dick? I'll suck yours.
Watch out, people will say, oh, you're just being hypocritical.
No.
Well, let's see what we can do about that. Let's see if we can get it back down to 0.
And we just talk to the audience as if they're actually there, but there's no one watching.
I mean, you know what's funny about what you just said, because you said, and it was very nice of you to say that you know most people who would watch this would know who I am, and that's really nice, and that's really flattering, but at the same time, it also kind of goes to show you what a tiny little bubble YouTube is, like especially like our little part of YouTube here, because I mean,
I wonder why that is.
I wonder.
I was going to go with the being for you, like when he was saying our little bubble, like YouTube is like a little bubble, and I was going to say for you. But the reason this is such a small bubble is that you're not willing to reach out to anyone outside of people that agree with you. Because politics is about disagreement, and this is why I don't care about disagreement, because it's a natural byproduct of politics. Disagreements are healthy. Refusal to talk to people is not healthy.
I mean, that's
Like,
essentially
you can
that's
disagree
essentially
with
the point,
someone.
is that it's a bubble, yeah, but it's a bubble of your own making, and you refuse to pop it. That's your problem.
if you think about it, like I have
YouTube, though.
Yeah.
I like to. I'm pretty proud of our bubble.
Oh, me too.
Oh my fucking god. You're losing! You're losing! Why are you proud of your bubble? You should not be proud of your bubble. You're losing. You are making the left look horrendous right now. And you are losing the culture war, if you want to put it in those terms. You are losing so badly by refusing to engage with people. Social justice is losing so much momentum right now, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, but you know, they're so fucking proud of their bubble that is getting consistently and consistently smaller and smaller and smaller and darker as it continues to fill with its own bullshit. So yeah, that's definitely something to be fucking proud of, Steve. Yeah, definitely.
Well, it was actually the other guy that said that, but I think Steve's probably going to agree with him.
I think we have some really good people. I mean, I'm very happy to be friends and sort of comrades with the people that I'm friends with.
Here's the thing, Steve, and this is probably the difference between you and me. I'm happy to be friends with people I disagree with. I disagree with a few people on quite a few things, and I'm still friends with them. Me and Gabriel Lucas, for example, we disagree on a lot of things, but I still consider him a friend. I still consider.
Well, I mean, it'd be like, yeah, Tim Blake and I don't really agree. Yeah, Chris Yossi and I really don't agree. Yeah, Spinosauruskin and I don't really agree, etc., etc. The list goes on. But just because you fucking disagree with somebody, just because you have some kind of an inherent conflict there, be it political, ideological, whatever it may be, doesn't mean you can't be friends with these people. You can still be friends with them and you can disagree with them, but you just, like friends should do, you sit down, you hash it out. You sit there, you talk it out, you laugh with each other and all that good stuff.
As a side note, I like how I mentioned Gabriel Lucas and then I saw he DM'd me on Twitter calling Robin Gething autistic.
Well, if I had to be perfectly honest... if I had to be perfectly honest, and I'm sorry if you're listening to this, Robin. Actually, no, I'm not. Robin probably is.
No, I don't think he's autistic. He's just full of himself, and gets on these drug highs, and it's just... he's got potential. It's just he's so fucking full of himself. He has this pretension to divinity, but perhaps I've not been that careful. Perhaps not.
Well, see, the problem with Robin is a similar problem you see with a lot of people in the quote unquote progressive left and these social justice types, like Steve Shives and like Christy Winters, etc., is that these people, they're so...
Well, he's better than them because he's willing to actually come on streams and engage with people he disagrees with, whereas those people don't. The problem with Robin is that he's not willing to...
He's better in that regard.
The problem with Robin is that he's not able to entertain other people's thoughts, and he's not willing to say, "Hang on, do they have a point?" It's always about winning the argument.
Well, see, that was essentially
I must protect my ideals.
That was essentially what I was getting at. Is that, while Robin may be better in that certain respect, where he is willing to actually get other people onto his streams and all that nonsense, the problem still lies in that these people, Steve Shives, Robin, Christy Winters, all these people, they are so stuck in their own certitude. They are so stuck in their own little mental fortress I'm always right.
Robin is actually more intelligent than both Christy Winters and Steve Shives, in my opinion. Like, he has a unique perspective that is interesting, which is why it pisses me off that he acts like this. It pisses me off more than most. Like, if it was just some regressive leftist or retrograde writer, I wouldn't give a shit. But because it's Robin and he has a few interesting positions on subjects, it just annoys me. But I'm just going to be right back quickly.
Yeah, no problem. But while Fox is doing his business, but basically what I was getting at is, I'm in full agreement with Fox here. Yes, Robin does present some very interesting points of view. He does present some very interesting arguments. He's very intellectual. He's an intelligent man. Unlike people like Steve Shives, like Christy Winters, like these very, like that one janitor, these fervent social justice types. The problem being is that they're so stuck in their certitude, but while they may be smart, like look at Christy Winters, Miss PhD, I'm such an academic. They may be smart, but they're not intelligent. At least not to the degree you would expect. Is that there's an inherent difference between being smart and being intelligent. And the problem with people like Chrissy Winters and Steve Shives and people like that especially is that they're so convinced that they conflate them as the same thing. Like Chrissy Winters, you may be a PhD, you may be smart as shit, you may be an academic. That's completely laudable, that's wonderful, that's understandable, but it doesn't make you intelligent. That's my point.
Right, I'm back.
Yeah, I heard your fat ass.
I think it's great.
Chair.
And I think a lot of us do really good work.
I'm actually not fat. I'm 6'4", 6'5", and my BMI is pretty decent actually. But anyway,
but like, you know, I like my channel has 50 some thousand subscribers. People who routinely make videos attacking me have a couple 100,000 subscribers for the most part.
Here's a suggestion, Steve. I know you like to claim that you don't want to get involved in drama. That's something he goes on about later in the stream. But
I'm sure
if somebody makes a video attacking you and what you're proposing, why don't you respond to them and say, "This is where you're wrong"? Why don't you do that? You know, that's not drama. If someone has actually thrown a stone at you,
well, see, that brings up a good point. That brings up a good point. I'm always bringing this up, is that I made that one video. Steve Shives doesn't understand rape culture, and the whole first half of the video is just addressing the bull crap he's talking about. You know how Trump and his comments mean that we live in a rape culture or some stupid crap like that. But then he starts pulling out numbers and statistics and data, and that's where I spent half my video shitting on him for completely misrepresenting them, and I thoroughly detail it. And I've tried to get people constantly to try to send him this video, and just to say, look at the last half where we're addressing the statistics, the data points, and respond to that. And he never has, and he never will, because he hates being proven wrong.
This is the thing, and this is why I sort of take the approach I do on my streams of being quite polite, is because if I just go in there acting like an asshole, nothing's going to be done. And I think if I go in and I act polite and civil and open to discourse and open to being proven wrong, then I think that I'll be able to understand where the sort of social justice crowd is coming from. But I don't get that from Steve. I mean, as someone like Tim Blake would probably be relatively happy to come on a stream with me. You know, Christy Winters hasn't been. I'm getting Ranting Feminist on. Maybe talking to someone like Christiosity or ContraPoints. Kevin Logan's been on a stream with me before. You know, these people, they're not... Steve is just a... He's worse than them because he's not even willing to do that. He only wants to talk to people within his own echo chamber, to confirm his own biases, to word it in a way that he otherwise cannot. And this is a problem I think everyone falls into, where you try and associate with people who you consider more intelligent than you in order to get them to prove, you know, voice a point in a better way than you can, and then you can use that in an argument against people. And
everyone, a lot of these people, they can absolutely be very civil. I've seen Kevin Logan go on all kinds of different streams, and while he may toss out a jab here and there, you know, for the most part, he tends to be very civil. Same with people like Tim Blake and Christiosity. They tend to be very civil in their discourse. Is another one. I haven't paid too much attention to Ranting Feminists. I probably should, but from what I've heard, they are actually willing to sit down and just be polite.
And that's what I'm going to do in my stream with her. You know, but I have no intention of going out there to own people, feminists, SJW wrecked. I mean, that culture is just so fucking old.
Well, yeah, and that's the point. You're not looking to get these people on streams or get them in hangouts or whatever to try and pwn them or try and. You know, you're not looking to try completely revitalize these people and re-engineer their bullshit. No, you're just looking to have a talk. They present their arguments. They, present their perspectives and their reasoning. You present yours. You kind of go back and forth, and maybe on some points you might find a middle ground. Steve Shives is completely unwilling to even remotely engage in any of that.
Yeah, we'll go on.
And
except for TJ, who had almost 1 million at one point, and now he's searching subscribers.
Yeah, well, fuck him. But I'm not. That's not a. To clarify, that is not a suggestion. That's nobody should ever actually do that. But,
yeah, I mean, I often.
Steve has actually brought up an interesting question. Is TJ a virgin? I would say no.
No, he's absolutely not. If TJ is, I'm presuming they mean TJ Kirk.
Yeah.
If TJ is not a virgin by dint of the fact he has a girlfriend, then at least we can surmise that TJ is not a virgin thanks to the banana.
Will joke, fuck that guy, and not in the fun way either.
Yeah, not like that. But like even someone like that with 1 million subscribers, I mean, that's a lot. Like compared to me, or compared to you, or compared to somebody else that we probably would hang out with, but it's not like a lot. It's not a huge number. I mean, there are people on YouTube who have tens of millions of subscribers.
Because they don't talk about politics, you mong. People, this is the thing.
Hey, you want to know the people who have tens of millions or millions of subscribers? What do? They play video games. They do makeup tutorials. They make comedy skits.
Let me look at Grade A Andre, because he's probably like the closest towards being like, he's only got 3 million subscribers. Like, he's not really a political channel in our sort of sense of the word, but he sort of covers topics that would be considered slightly political. But the popular YouTubers are ones that do not cover politics.
Well, I mean,
they play video games. They play something that is easily accessible. Politics is a controversial subject.
Well, I mean, look at it. Look at it this way. For fuck's sake, look at Trey Melvin. Trey Melvin, who spent his entire YouTube career, making, funny little comedy skits and things like that and being an entertainer. And then the minute he started getting into all this social justice, Black Lives Matter bullshit and, you got white privilege and my money doesn't make me privileged bullshit. The minute he started getting into politics, he started hemorrhaging fucking subscribers like crazy. It's because he's getting into not only politics, which is generally pretty unconvincing and boring to a lot of people. A lot of people just don't care. But also the fact that the messages he was talking about, he had over 2 million subscribers, 3 million probably. And you're going to turn off a lot of your subscriber base because the majority of people do not subscribe to these ideas.
And again, I know I'm getting angry. The only reason I'm getting angry is because it's Steve. And I don't think if I were to actually have a conversation with Steve, I would not behave like this, because I would be at least charitable to the fact that he was willing to come on a stream. But because he's not, and because he treats me, and by extension, by a ways of proxy, because he treats everyone who disagrees with me like pieces of shit, I'm going to treat you like a piece of shit.
Exactly. It'd be one thing if
unlike Naked Ape, who actually at least came on the stream and at least had some intelligent points to make when he wasn't screeching, you have nothing. You have nothing, Steve. There is nothing to you.
Well, that's inherently the point. Is that right now we're sitting here and we're going through a bunch of crap with Steve Shives, and we're just, for the most part, not if not refuting shit that they say, just ripping on them. And, and as far as I can tell, that's, perfectly, we're well within our rights to do that. Why? Because it's not like we're ever going to get Steve Shives on a stream anyway. It's not like we're ever going to get Steve Shives to partake in a discussion. He's so unwilling. And so, you know what? If you're not willing to even meet us halfway, if you're not willing to at least meet us on the field of battle, then you know what? Fuck you. We're just going to lob arrows at you the whole fucking time.
I mean, he's quite... keen to do the H-bomber tactic of hiding behind cover and throwing stones from behind cover. So why not do the same?
Yeah, Steve is extremely...
Stones, how about boulders?
Steve is extremely willing to do exactly like that one meme that's been floating around for a while, where there's that feminist standing next with a shovel, standing next to a pile of shit, and there's a wall that just says the internet. And they just start flinging shit over it, and then eventually shit starts flinging back, and they scream misogyny or whatever. That's Steve. That is Steve. He's so willing to throw shit.
Subscribers, and even they are not super famous.
Sorry, I had to.
Outside of YouTube.
Yeah.
I think we forget. how insulated the YouTube thing is, where even like people who are super famous on YouTube, like if you just go out into the world and ask 10 random people, you know, do you know who Markiplier is? Most people will have no idea who the hell you're talking about.
Pause it.
Who the hell is Markiplier?
Steve has absolutely zero fucking awareness of what it's like to actually go out in the world and talk to people. And I brought this up in my video against him. You know, I'm more than sure that you're so busy being confined in your kennel by your psychotic feminist wife that Jesus, you're not going to have any idea of what the outside world is like. You know, I could go out and I could talk to 100 different people and I can ask them, do you know who Markiplier is? I almost guarantee at least 50 of these people are going to be like, I fucking love him, and maybe it may be a mixed bag of, you know, no, I like him more than PewDiePie, or maybe PewDiePie's better.
Now, this actually might surprise you, but I think Steve has a bit of a point here with regards to how insulated YouTube is, because it does depend on a generational gap.
Bit of
because
a point,
if I were to go, like if I were to go out and ask, you know, a bunch of elderly people, they wouldn't have a clue who Markiplier is, and even like a few young people, you know, they wouldn't instantly. They're not quite as recognizable as names like, you know, Dwayne The Rock Johnson or Emma Watson or people like that.
Well, yeah, because it really depends on who you're asking about. I mean, and it really depends on who you're asking. It really depends on who you're asking about and who you're asking the question to. Because I mean, I could go out into my daily life. I could ask 10,000 people about, hey, have you heard of this? You know, pick a name of some YouTuber with 5 million subscribers who just does makeup tutorials, and I guarantee all but maybe 2 of them would be like, who the fuck are you talking about? But I mentioned someone like PewDiePie or Markiplier or you know, any of the entertainers or the gamers. You know, there's a lot of people who would genuinely say, yes, I fucking love them, or they'd have some comment like, I hate them. They'd have some comment, they'd know who they are.
And I think it can also be applied the other way. So, for example, if I were to ask a bunch of young people who Idi Amin is, you know, they wouldn't really know. Like, not many people, unless they're quite well versed in history, whereas elderly people, they would all know who Idi Amin is because he was a big deal in the 70s. With regards to British television. But,
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time. I'm waiting for the end of the story.
Back in my day.
Idi Amin ate people. No, seriously, there is actually a rumor that he might have been a cannibal. That's a fun story about Idi Amin. Like a few years before he died, he was hiding out in Saudi Arabia, and my dad's best friend works out as a doctor in Abu Dhabi, which is in the United Arab Emirates. So I think he was in Saudi Arabia there. He actually performed a checkup on Idi Amin, and apparently he was really nice to him.
Well, I mean, shit. Technically speaking, Charles Manson can be very polite and approachable, but he's still fucking psychotic murderer.
Yeah.
I mean, I've brought this up in a previous stream. I've met Charles Manson. I've met Charles Manson face to face. He was creepy as fuck, no doubt. But he was creepy as fuck in a very polite, very friendly, and very approachable manner.
And here's the thing, I reckon you could even sit down Hitler and at least sort of have a nuance. You know, I think someone like Hitler, you could probably sit down and like probably see some good sides in him. Like, this is probably going to be taken out of fucking context now.
It is. Somebody's going to go through this stream and they're going to find that particular clip of you just saying, you know, I'm sure you could sit down with Hitler and you could find some, you know, some good sides to him. And they're going to, like Tom Bloke or somebody's just going to take like that 9 seconds and throw it up on YouTube and just, you know, call you a Nazi sympathizer or some bullshit.
Like Nazi sympathizer. Have you seen Chef Red Pills on Twitter? He's absolutely hilarious.
I have, yes.
He's dedicated a moment. You know how Twitter has moments now, which is basically like stories.
I know. I've seen what you're talking about, and it's fantastic.
Fox from the West, more like Weasel from the West. And I'm thinking of making like a video on my second channel about it because it's hilarious.
You really should.
Anyway.
No, I know who Markiplier is, but I didn't know for like the longest time because I usually don't watch like his channel or anything.
Oh yeah, well, neither do I.
Well, this is the thing that you see, they're disconnected from what the majority of people on YouTube watch. And to be honest, I don't really watch people like Markiplier either, but I at least know that they are probably the most popular people on YouTube. Well, I mean, I don't necessarily blame them for not knowing that. I'm just saying that.
Well, I think in the case of Steve Shives, this is an inherent problem with him, is that people like Steve Shives are the kind who the only ones they really focus on, the ones they only really know about on YouTube, are people in their own field who they agree with.
And disagree, and the people they consider the absolute worst.
Oh, those like Steve Shives. Steve Shives of all people? Oh, the people that he would consider the absolute worst. Oh God, TJ and Sargon and V and Uzulu and all these other people. Undoomed, etc., etc. Fucking name somebody.
A lot of his arguments come from anecdote as well. Something I've noticed from Steve is that he kind of conflates the entire world to be in his same, in his shoes also, when he doesn't realize that people have different perceptions of the world. And if you have a different perception to the world of Steve, then there's something wrong with you.
Oh yeah, because God forbid the world doesn't revolve around Steve Shives.
Mm-hmm. God forbid, not everyone is like Steve Shives.
Passing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch his stuff either. But I mean, that's another thing that people might be surprised about is like I spend so little of my time paying attention to YouTube shit other than my own stuff. Like I spend a lot of time.
Exactly my point. Exactly my fucking point. Just what I fucking said. Jesus. Thank you for proving me completely right before we even got to you saying it, Steve. Thank you.
Well, this is the thing. I understand that he doesn't want to look through all the criticisms he gets because a lot of it is probably a bunch of retrograde right shit thrown at him. But there are genuinely very good, intricate criticisms of what you're doing wrong, Steve. And if you don't have to agree with them, but you could at least sort of take them on board and say, okay, I see what you're saying here. I personally disagree because X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying you have to acquiesce to their requests by any means, but at least
just because you listen to somebody's criticisms of you, or listen to people who you don't inherently agree with, doesn't mean you have to be like, oh well, I'm listening to this person, so I have to agree with them and I have to promote their ideas. No, you listen to them just for the sake of listening to them. You listen to them because, who knows, maybe it's somebody on your own side, Steve, who maybe you don't generally agree with, but maybe they'll present, different kinds of arguments, different kind of perspectives. Maybe they'll present better arguments and better perspectives than you're able to, and then you can learn from them. Who knows?
At least people like Tim Blake and Kevin Logan, at least they're willing to have their opinions challenged. They don't acquiesce to their opinions because they still hold their opinions, but at least they go out there. At least they sort of respond to these things. You just have this pretension that you're right, Steve.
It's like I said before. It's like him, Christy Winters, that one janitor. These people are so bunkered down in their own certitude. It cripples them intellectually. That's what it does.
Working on my channel, I spend a lot of time writing and making my videos, and there's a small group of other YouTube channels that I pay attention to, and it's mostly people that we both know that we're friends with.
So you're living in an echo chamber. Got it.
And admitting it.
But other than that, I don't really...
Well, at least he's honest, but that's probably one of his only redeeming qualities.
Likely.
I spend a lot of time, watching YouTube shit. Most of the YouTube videos that I watch that aren't made by people that I'm actually friends with it's like watching, shoot interviews with wrestlers. That's, if you look at my YouTube history, it's like, Christy Winters video.
He probably gets offended by Jim Cornette. I don't know if you follow wrestling. Do you follow wrestling?
I do.
Yeah, I follow wrestling as well, but
That's,
to be honest, I look at that. I look up that stuff from time to time, actually. But at least someone like Jim Cornette. Like, I think what he's trying to do is he's completely failing to try and emulate Jim Cornette and his hatred for the Republicans, because Jim has a very natural charisma to him, and he would be willing to, Jim Cornette has a backbone. Like, he is someone who I think would be right at home with the Justice Democrats, in my opinion, with Kyle Kalinske or someone. Like, he's been on the Young Turks before.
He probably would be, yeah.
Yeah, that's something like that would be a really good cause for Jim to get behind. But no, like Jim is at least sort of willing to have a backbone and talk to people. You don't have any of that. Like, I don't know, people who don't even know what we're talking about and just talking wrestling shit. Jim Cornette is a wrestling manager. He was a really good manager. He wasn't quite as good as, say, Bobby the Brain Heenan or Paul Heyman, but he's up there. He's like top 10, top 5 maybe even. But he's very well known for his shoot interviews, which are basically things that are, behind the scene talks, talking about wrestling, in a sort of fake, acknowledging that wrestling is scripted and fake and all that kind of stuff. And he's very entertaining about how much he shits on people. And he's kind of a shit poster in a sense, but he has a very extreme hatred of the Republican Party, and he's very entertaining in how he deals with it. But I'd be lying if I was saying it didn't come from a bit of, it came across as a bit self-righteous, but he's at least willing to talk to people that he disagrees with. He at least has a backbone, unlike Stevie here.
If there's anybody that I could possibly think of, I gotta be honest here. If there's anybody on the planet that immediately comes to mind when somebody were to ask me, who do you know who has absolutely no fucking spine? My immediate first thought would be Steve Shives. And I know that may seem a little shitty of me to say, but if you genuinely go through all of his videos, all of his content,
he is the Cowardly Lion from Wizard of Oz.
Oh, absolutely. So ferocious when he's on his own or with his friends, but the minute you put a challenge in front of his face, he'll go hide behind a rock faster than you can say.
It's like that Monty Python run away thing.
Exactly.
Video or a one janitor video or a Kevin Logan video or some of my videos that I've watched back to look at something, and then it's like fucking Jim Cornette podcast videos for like 20. I mean, that
Jim Cornette podcast videos actually.
Like, Jim Cornette is actually really entertaining to watch. I'll give him that.
No doubt.
Those are pretty fun to watch. I mean, I got a lot of What Culture videos too.
What Culture is great, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Oh, I know a show he'll really not like. Do you know the whole effing show, the YouTube channel?
Oh Jesus, yes.
He would fucking hate them because I know there was a big drama with them. Like, I'm not particularly fond of them either because there was a big drama with them and Wrestling with Regret, and who's like sort of the nostalgia critic of wrestling and What Culture, but I can't remember the specifics of it. But they fucked up or something like that.
Well, before you start the video again, Fox, I do need to point out, and I do hope you appreciate the fact that in my overlay here in the video, I do have, of course, I have a list for guests, and you're the only one, obviously, but below that I do have the fag of the day with a picture of Steve Shives looking both extremely concerned and at the same time slightly smug.
I'll have to see that, actually. Let me just refresh the page.
I do enjoy my overlays.
He looks like he's just taken a shit and he's really proud of it.
I don't know. I look at that and I think, yeah, it looks like he's just taken a shit, but I get the feeling it's one of those shits that kind of hurt him. like he's got that kind of face, he's got that kind of expression of disappointment on his face, like, This did a little too much damage to my bunghole.
Thinly veiled butthurt.
A little too much
We've
corn.
only got 2 comments so far. Solar the Inept Porpoise, who says, wait, is Steve a communist? To answer that question, no.
No, I'm not.
But Steve is pretty friendly with a couple of communists here on YouTube, myself included.
Yeah.
And this same person said, Steve, I think you blocked me even though I don't follow anyone on the right. Probably was an error from the block bot.
Yeah, it was probably a bot, because that's really the only reason. The only reason you would be blocked by me would be either that you are on a block list for some reason, or a block bot that I use, or.
How many block bots does he actually have? Actually, I'm interested. Probably about 4 or 5, I'd guess.
That's a good question. I'd have to take the gander. He probably uses at least 4 or 5. But I do appreciate the fact that he is willing to publicly admit he uses a block bot because he's that fucking sensitive. Like God, like I take pride in the fact that on my Twitter, I will not mute anyone. I will not block anyone. If I get flooded with notifications and replies, I'll try to get it to as many of them as I can, and I will try to respond. I'll try to engage people, but Steve is just so concerned with
reminds me,
block.
Let me see. Let me check my blocked accounts. But I unmute that person because he kept spamming me with notifications, and I blocked one account who tried to report me to the Liberal Democrats and get me kicked off the Liberal Democrats. But other than that, I've not blocked or muted anyone.
Someone tried to get you kicked off
Yes, because ironically, because I called a Brexiter autistic.
You called a Brexiter autistic, and someone tried to get you kicked out of the Liberal Democrats.
Yep. They were a Labour, Corbynites, so...
fucking surprise there. Jesus.
Anyway, I'm just going to BRB quickly again.
No problem, because right now I can't... Because I got like 5 different Twitter accounts that I use, and I can't remember which of them Steve hasn't blocked yet, because I think he's blocked like 4 of them. And, I'm honestly... I'm looking right now. I'm trying to figure this shit out. This one... No, he's got that one blocked. Damn. Honestly, he might have all of them blocked, and it's a bit of a shame. Let's see. One more. Steve Shives. He's got that one blocked too. God, Jesus. I don't know anyone else who has as many accounts blocked by Steve Shives as I do. 3. Yep. I'm sorry if this might be a little bit boring for the most part to some of you, but I'm genuinely curious. I want to see. Oh, wait. I might have found one. Yeah, there we go. I found one account that's not blocked by Steve Shives. Oh. I gotta keep this one in reserve just in case. Oh, I'm gonna send him something fierce later, I swear to God. But anyways, while we're waiting for Fox to get back, because he's busy doing something, is there anything anyone in the chat would like to say regarding the current stream or the video or anything really, or any kind of questions to ask?
And I'm back.
Oh, that was fucking quick.
I will take the remote.
Oh, what? Try it again. I was about to click the give it button, and it just went away. Stop doing
You
that.
follow somebody that I used a blockchain. on because they were inciting harassment against me, or you personally pissed me off and I blocked you personally. But I actually don't.
Oh wow!
They were inciting harassment against me. See, that's a funny thing. Is I have 5 Twitter accounts. He's blocked 4 of them, and on every single one of them, one of them, I may have, if you want to stretch it, may have sent him something that may have been that could be considered harassment. The other 3, all I did was just legitimately just link him to the video that I made, and they were all blocked. I guess apparently just linking him to a video is harassment.
I've got a print screen that picture of Stevie there.
Oh God! Hold on. I'm gonna do the same.
But what was he saying before that? Because I think he said something that was particularly egregious there.
On because they were inciting harassment against me, or you personally pissed me off and I blocked you personally. But I actually don't.
Well, all 3 people that you personally blocked yourself.
Yeah, all 3 people who he personally blocked because everyone else was already blocked by his goddamn bots and couldn't send him messages to begin with. Jesus. God damn it, Steve. Just
don't do that all that often. People would be surprised who piss and moan about how big how many people I have blocked. I almost never will actually push the block button on somebody. Usually.
No wonder, because you have bots to do it for you.
I'll almost never hit the block button myself, because if I just let a bot do it, that pushes the responsibility onto the algorithm. No, you set up these block bots, you set up these blockchains, you intended to have these people blocked for no fucking reason whatsoever. Steve, don't try and play it off. Oh, you may have only clicked the block button 3 or 4 times, but guess what? You're still responsible for at this point, I would gander, millions of people you've blocked. It's your responsibility. Fucking own up to
I wonder if he's blocked Donald Trump.
Oh, I guarantee it. I guarantee
like Donald Trump just going, what?
See,
why has the Steve Shives guy blocked me?
See, that's the funny thing is I can almost guarantee he has Donald Trump blocked, and then he set up his block bots and his blockchains to automatically block people who follow Donald Trump. Literally millions and millions of people.
How big is my block list? If you basically said last night, I don't know how big my block list is, and I don't care.
I don't care. It means nothing to me. I mean, and then my follow-up answer was not big enough because I still get people tweeting irrelevant, annoying, shit at me to pester me.
Solar the Inept Porpoise said, if I unfollow the person, will it unblock me?
No.
Yeah, unfortunately.
No, I would have to.
However, you could probably contact.
Do you know what's actually interesting is, I thought that might have been the case with Spino because I think he unfollowed Sargon and then he got himself unblocked by Steve, and I thought, okay, maybe that was the bot that did it. So he must have manually unblocked Spino. Like he is literally searching for people to dare to speak up against the the people that he dislikes. He's using people as a proxy. He's using people like Spino as a fucking proxy, and I feel bad for Spino.
If that's the case, I don't mean to shit on Spino here, but I guess I'm gonna. But if that's the case, then it does kind of genuinely make one wonder about Spino and the kind of company he keeps. When all these accusations that are thrown at Spino about you're basically just a half-baked social justice warrior or some shit like that, and Spino throws a little shit fit about it, and then it's like, well,
like honestly,
look at the company you keep, look at the people who follow you, who you follow, look at the people who you talk to regularly, look at the kind of shit you post. kind of fucking
like,
makes sense.
Honestly, I went into talking with those kinds of social, the social justice crowd, thinking, oh, maybe they'll be a bit more sort of willing to accept me if I say, okay, I can understand your point, but this is why I disagree. But no, they don't. They just want you. All they want is you to own the other side. They're just as bad as the SJW wrecked videos. They're fucking.
Exactly, because
I'm
it's not about whether
on both sides.
Exactly, because it's not about whether or not you can see their perspective and, present any kind of, calm, civil, intelligent, coherent argument against it, or or even explain why you might disagree. That doesn't matter. None of it matters unless you absolutely and, specifically agree with every single thing they say. They want nothing to do with you because they see you as the enemy. You're a degenerate. You're a deplorable.
Back to me on Twitter, I don't use block bots, and I could probably look through what you say and like.
What is that guy's Twitter? I've got to look that up.
American Anarchist. I don't know. It might be on his. It might be on.
I think it's on his channel, but I remember clicking on it and it just gave me a 404.
Well, if it's not on his channel, then there might be an updated link because he might have made a different account on one of his recent videos.
I don't think it was on the stream. What if I go?
Yeah, it's doubtful it was on the stream, but it might be on one of these other just innocuous videos he made.
Well, a lot of them are just streams, kind of like my style of doing things. Just his Patreon link. But you can take the remote and play out. I'm just going to look for his Twitter.
No,
He's got a Facebook page.
Why? Facebook is so useless. Just stop, dude. Just get off Facebook, I swear.
Let Steve know whether the stuff you say is
if it's
okay or not. Because Steve has unblocked some cool people in the past. Because sometimes, I think Steve started following me before I started following some people that would put me on his block lists. But if Steve didn't follow me, I probably would be on his block list myself.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing about the blocking thing is, if
don't you see a problem with that? God. Even if it wasn't. If you weren't on Steve's follow list, you yourself would have been blocked. Do you not see how fucking pathetic that is?
I mean, that is in its own way insinuating that if you are not followed by Steve Shives, there is a 90% chance, more than likely, that you are blocked by Steve Shives.
That's another good print screen there. It looks like he's wiping his tears after crying.
It's like, oh, poor me.
My opinion has been challenged on the internet.
But again, that brings up kind of a good perspective, is that if you are not followed by Steve Shives, or God forbid you follow someone that Steve Shives doesn't like, and probably a plethora of other factors.
I think I found him on Twitter, and I'm blocked by him, of course.
Oh, do send it to me in a DM. Send it to me in a DM. The link.
Sure. I'll go on my alt account, and I just have like a alt account where I don't post anything on it. I just lurk and see what's going on behind the block wall.
That's fine. You just send me a direct message, and that's fine. But this.
I DM'd you on Twitter.
But needless to say, it introduces a very interesting perspective. Is that if you're not followed by Steve Shives, or if you follow somebody that Steve Shives doesn't like, or has put into these blockchains or these block bots, or hell, even if you are just not followed by Steve Shives, then he probably has you blocked.
I think it's amusing that he's got on his liked videos, the YouTube thing. It was like, I like a YouTube video thing. Like, two of them are 10 banned video games that shocked the world, and 10 more banned video games that shocked the world.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, this fucker doesn't have me blocked. Surprise, surprise.
And he probably blocked me because I kept saying my name in the chat last night.
Yeah, it could be. Fucker doesn't.
Retweeting Willie Bumblebee, Tim Blake, Mindset. Well, actually, no. Mindset Expert is actually Mindset Expert, but it's like a list. He's not that bad. He's like a more tolerable Tom bloke in a sense.
In a sense.
Mindset Expert, as you say, with the lisp that he's going for.
Let's get on with this.
If you've never experienced like what it's like to try to use Twitter when some shitty person has just made a video about you or retweeted something of yours to their followers, and you're just getting inundated with just, nasty, shitty comments, or people just, asking ridiculous, irrelevant questions, or just.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm getting asked ridiculous and irrelevant questions because these questions, these questions. Oh my God, they might challenge my perspective, or God forbid, I might have to engage them, and I don't have I don't have a good answer, and I'm just going to dig myself a hole.
If he's complaining about this, why is he making these videos in the first place? It doesn't sound like it's even that fun for him to have to put up with this. He is basically trying to take a shortcut and project his views onto the populace of YouTube in a way so he can not take any kind of criticism, and that he can always hold the pretentiousness that, I don't know how old Steve is, he's probably in his 30s, maybe 40s, but he is holding this pretentiousness that he holds all the right answers, and that if anyone challenges him, that they're simply wrong, and that's not the case.
Well, it's like I've mentioned before. He's so bunkered down in his own certitude that he believes that he's always right. He won't engage anyone because he automatically believes that they're wrong and that they'll approach him in bad faith, and that he doesn't need to, and that he can just block everybody on the goddamn planet. Because why the hell not? Because anything they have to say obviously isn't the truth. It obviously isn't relevant. It obviously isn't any kind of genuine interest or concern. No, they're just all trolls and Nazis and misogynists. So whatever.
Trying to get at you and bother you. I mean, it can be emotionally draining, but also it makes Twitter damn near impossible to use, because you're just getting notifications about just shit that is absolutely meaningless and is just annoying. So when you get that, and it's happening to you by the hundreds or by the thousands, using block lists and doing a blockchain, like if someone with 100-some thousand Twitter followers has tweeted something nasty about me and all of their followers are coming at me, there's an app there's a browser plugin called Twitter Blockchain that you can use that will just block all of their followers.
Oh, that's so pathetic. Here's the thing, Steve. I guarantee you that there's at least some people that are going to be jackasses to you, and you have the right to block those jackasses. And I'm not even saying that you're even wrong to block those people. I wouldn't personally block those people that are, bombarding you with pointless messages, but it's your choice. But there are definitely people that are coming to you with genuine criticism. Why are you deciding to burn the bridge to all of the followers just because a few of them have been mean to you on Twitter? Just so fucking pathetic. You are a pathetic little man, and you are the reason why. You are probably one of the biggest contributing factors to why social justice is now a laughingstock. I'm convinced that this guy, he has to be some kind of plant or something at this point to be this fucking bad. Like, at least with someone like Tim Blake and Kevin Logan, I can kind of see some kind of humanity in how they handle themselves. But this guy, I'm almost convinced that he's some kind of fucking shill. Some kind of Poe.
Well, see, that's the whole thing with Steve Shives is that I do this all the time. I don't have a huge Twitter following. I've got, maybe 360, 370 followers. Oh, good for fucking me. But in some cases, particularly if I tweet something out that's, particularly divisive, I'll get inundated with all kinds of messages, all kinds of bullshit. But I don't block people because of that. You know what I do is that I go through each individual message, and I'm just like, because I'm not cared. I don't care about the likes or the dislikes or the whatevers, or the retweets, etc., etc. I just look at what people are actually saying, and I guarantee that's maybe like 10% of all the notifications you get at most. So it's really just I just sit there and I look at them. I'm just like, I look at them and I'm like, can I respond to this? Yes or no? Or some of them are one response followed by 15 other responses, and I'm just like, all right, well, I'll look at it. Maybe I'll respond to it. Maybe I don't. Maybe I won't. I mean, what is the sense in attempting to conflate every single notification, every single message that you get that is not high fucking praise of you and your ideals? Is, it's annoying, it's aggressive, it's trolling, it's whatever the fuck you want to call it. Because if you're not even remotely willing to even engage these notifications and these messages to the point of even reading them, then you're doing yourself no favors whatsoever. I mean, I'll sit there, I'll get, 120 notifications, and then 20 of them might be actual messages. I'll read through every single message, and I'll respond to what I feel, requires a response. I don't block people just because, this is annoying. That's just petty. That's shallow as shit. God.
I still don't know why he puts himself in this environment where this is bound to happen. He is basically trying to... I'm trying to think of a decent analogy. I was going to say he's trying to paint the sky green in a sense, because he is trying to create an environment which is completely against the foundations, a completely artificial environment in which he can somehow control the conversation, and it's crashing down so spectacularly. It's almost kind of sad.
It is in its own way. I mean, it's like I have to paint the entire sky yellow because blue is annoying. That's basically what he's getting at.
Yeah, that's a better way to phrase it.
God, what a...
And that's not a perfect system, because there are people who follow people. There are people who follow people that they don't like or they don't agree with, and they just follow them for...
Here's a suggestion, Steve. I mean, bit outlandish, bit out there, but don't use the fucking system! Why? Why are you using the system for political discourse? Ugh.
For whatever reason, to keep an eye on them or to laugh at them or whatever.
Me following Sargon.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. So, I mean, people get blocked when you do stuff like that. When you block people en masse like that, you're always going to block people that don't.
I like how they're bringing this up, and yet if we're not allowed to follow you and laugh at you. You think it's okay for... I like how they think it's okay for them to follow people like Sargon and laugh at them, but then, we're not allowed to do the same to you because that's mean. Fucking hypocrites.
It's all right if it's all right if I follow Sargon. It's all right if I follow Uzulu or V. It's all right if I follow Fox from the West or whoever, and I can take whatever they're tweeting and I can shit all over it. But if you do the same thing, oh God. Oh, if you follow Sargon, if you follow V, if you follow Fox from the West, then you're a shitlord. You're terrible. You're a horrible human being.
Yeah, that's another good point. Like, they're allowed to do it. They
it's the typical progressive left social justice bullshit double standards of
don't really deserve
do what I say, not what I do.
To be blocked, that didn't really mean any harm, or didn't care, or didn't even know who you were, or whatever. That's always going to happen. And that's unfortunate. And if there was like a perfect method to avoid that, I would do that. But there's not a
It's called ignoring. just ignore people, or even just mute them if you absolutely have to.
Yeah, see,
Perfect method to
that brings
avoid
up a good
that.
question,
So, yeah.
Posit. That brings up a good question. I mean, if they have blockchains and block bots out there, don't they have mute chains and mute bots out there? I'm pretty sure they do. I'm fairly confident of that fact. So why can't you just mute people instead of just blocking them like a douche nozzle?
Because essentially what blocking is same qualities as mute, except they can't even hear your opinions. They can't even see what you have to say, from here on forward. Like, they don't even know. And they're still going to get past the block anyway. I've got alt accounts which aren't following anyone, so I don't get detected by stupid bot mechanisms. And I'm still able to see what you're posting. I can still make fun of it. People can still do that, so it's not foolproof. So why are you even doing it?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why I don't mute anybody. Why I don't block anybody. Why I don't disengage from any kind of discourse or any kind
Well,
of
actually,
conversation.
I just don't block people because I don't completely give up on people. The only way you're really gonna get blocked by me is if you fuck with my personal life, really.
Well, I mean, and that's a good standard to have. Is you fuck with my personal life, well, that's going a little too far. But either way, this is why I don't mute people, I don't block people, I don't disengage with people, or anything like that. Anybody can send me anything. It's because I'm willing to let people send me whatever the fuck they want. I'm willing to let people say whatever they want, and sometimes I'll respond, sometimes I won't. Sometimes it gets lost in transit. Who fucking knows? But at least I'm willing. I mean, for someone like Steve Shives to be, I'm an atheist. Atheism plus. I'm a feminist. Social justice is so amazing. Progressive attitudes. Well, sorry to say, Steve, but I'm sorry. It doesn't seem very quote unquote progressive to sit there and silence everybody you don't agree with. To silence everybody who, God forbid, may have a dissenting opinion from your own. That's not progressive. That's just shallow.
Like, even, I mean, my God, even like the communist, like there is no group that is more cowardly than the mainstream contemporary left on Twitter, because even the communists, I've just got a communist saying Tony Blair's a war criminal and deserves to be hanged. I have banter with a few communists on occasion, like Pierre Trudank, ZZ, or whatever his name is.
Pierre Trudank, Jesus.
Okay, they're shitlords, but they're at least fun to talk with. And even people on the retrograde right, they don't really. Paul Joseph Watson is the only one that I think has actually blocked me. I'm trying to think. Is there any other mainstream one? No, I don't think I've been blocked by anyone else. I mean, I probably could, but at least I don't deliberately tweet at Stefan to piss him off. So
I've tweeted at God knows how many people on the progressive left, the retrograde right, people who fall in the center, liberals, conservatives, you name it. I've tweeted at basically everybody, and I've challenged basically everybody. But from my experience, the only ones who end up blocking me or muting me or just completely disengaging are these people in the quote-unquote progressive left. These social justice types. These are the only people who have ever just outright blocked me and just shut down any chance of any kind of genuine discussion.
Well, I don't care that I'm blocked by Paul Joseph Watson. I think it's hilarious because I think he's beyond any kind of meaningful discussion.
Oh,
like the other people, I wouldn't mind getting blocked by Crowder either, to be honest, or Rebel Media. I think those groups are, but someone like Dave Rubin and Stefan Molyneux, who I at least sort of see some redeeming qualities in, I might be a bit, that kind of sucks. I'm blocked by them, but moving on.
Oh, God, Fox, what'd you do? You said that Stephen Molyneux has redeeming qualities. That's got to be another clip. Anyways, go ahead.
That's actually kind of par for the course, isn't it?
It is, but you go ahead. I'm going to take a real quick piss.
Yeah, if someone gets blocked by me and it's important enough, they care enough that they're like, I wish Steve would unblock me. I mean, you can email me. My email address is on my YouTube channel, or
So you're forcing them to go over bureaucracy for something as pedantic as Twitter. Seriously, Steve? Why does this require some kind of bureaucratic setup where people have to go in and appeal and say, oh, well, you can email me, you know? Like, if you care that much, you can email me. You are trying to shift the burden of proof in this. Well, it's not quite the burden of proof, but you're trying to shift the burden of what is of who the pathetic one is. You are the pathetic one for blocking someone in the first place for very little reason. So don't try to shift the burden onto other people.
You can ask someone else on Twitter who knows me to say, hey, have a word with Steve, see if he'll unblock me. You know, you've done that before. Mike Rowlands has done that a lot. Mike Rowlands is like the Steve whisperer. He's always like tweeting at me saying, hey, what about this person? Can you unblock this person?
That's probably what happened to Spino.
What happened to Spino?
Michael Rowlands has apparently been tweeting at Steve and saying, hey, unblock this person. Hey, unblock this person. Hey, unblock this person. Like the Steve whisperer, as he calls him.
Well, I would like to be able to actually see some of Mike Rowland's fucking tweets, but Music Man Mike has me blocked. Just like Steve, just like I find it funny how a lot of these people in this fucking field, Steve Shives, Mike Rowlands, Christy Winters, Kevin Logan, and several others, they all have me blocked.
Mike Rowlands doesn't have me blocked.
The overwhelming majority of these people have me, of all people, blocked. Some innocuous, tiny shit little account.
Let's see. Michael Rowlands doesn't have me blocked. I mean, I think the only sort of social...
From what I can tell, it's mostly been from... Because the only tweets I've ever sent to these people, aside from maybe some video links I've sent them, the only tweets I've ever sent these people have actually been, inquiries. Just like genuine inquiries. And the overwhelming majority of them have me of all people blocked. It's a little sad.
I'm happy to unblock people who were blocked, just automatically, who aren't necessarily bad people. But at this
while you were gone, he was also trying to shift the burden of proof. Well, not quite the burden of proof, but he's trying to shift the burden and say, well, you can always email me if you care that much about it. No, the burden is with you for deliberately trying to block people for such trivial and meaningless reasons. Don't try to shift the burden onto other people.
Yeah, see, that kind of plays in what you just said. I'm willing to unblock people. Caveat being, as long as you don't criticize me and you agree with what I say.
Yep.
I guarantee it.
Same time, you have to let me know, because I don't lose sleep over it. I personally don't care, because it's not that important to me. But if you've been blocked by me and it's important to you,
Well, it's important enough for you to set up a bot about it. So
yeah, he doesn't lose any sleep over it.
But,
oh God, he had to set up 4 or 5 fucking block bots and a bunch of blockchains and shit. It means so little.
I'll check out your page, and if you seem like a cool person, I'll unblock you.
If you seem like a cool person, if you seem like somebody who, completely agrees with my perspective, if you seem like somebody who, wouldn't criticize me or, ask me any kind of questions, then, I'll unblock you. Is basically what he's saying.
Steve Shives.
God. Steve is such a fucking cock.
Well, I think Solar the Inept Porpoise kind of made a good point. Maybe I used to follow someone I don't follow anymore when I tried to follow Steve. But when I tried to follow American Anarchist, I wasn't following them anymore. This is a possibility.
All right, he's got block bots as well, by the looks of it. Although you're not blocked by him, funny enough.
I am not, funny enough, because I don't think that a lot of these block bots end up actually catching me. Because the majority of the time, I'm not blocked by a lot of these people. And I only get blocked after I send them any kind of inquiry, any kind of question, any kind of contradiction to their points or their narratives or their tweets. So I can almost guarantee a lot of these people who have blocked me personally. they've actually gone and they've actually gone to my page and clicked that block button.
That's possible.
So, yeah. I mean, if I knew who you were, I would be able to like tell Steve exactly what your Twitter page is, and my DMs are open, so like I don't even have to be following you for you to send me a direct message.
Do you know what you should do? Because his DMs are open, Wolf, is that you should say, hey, would you be willing to appear on Fox from the West and block Fox from the West and then appear on one of his streams to discuss anarchism and statism? Because I had a conversation with an ANCAP the other day, which was quite interesting. So it'd be interesting to talk with an ANCOM about it.
I've been meaning to do that myself, to have because there's a couple of ANCAPs who have been on a couple of streams I've been on. I've been meaning to have conversations with them. So the fact that I'm not blocked by this guy yet, I could probably ask him. I mean, there's a 50-50 chance that if I ask him to unblock you and try to come onto a stream to discuss these things, that he may end up just blocking me, or maybe, who knows, he'll respond.
Well, if he blocks you, then there's nothing really lost. We don't lose anything from it. So.
Well, true, but at the same time, I'm half tempted to ask him to get a hold of Steve Shives to get me unblocked, so that Steve Shives and
I think he would have to know you, though. Unfortunately, like
probably because God forbid I'm not sucking his dick.
I think I've been kind of lucky with the fact that I can keep them open like that, because I have never gotten harassment through direct messages, or never gotten it en masse. Oh, hello, democratize the media. Yeah, Chief Scott.
What a stupid fucking name.
Democratize the media.
Oh, that just sounds like something you'd make when you're like 16 years old, trying to make like some big political protest movement.
That's like the username of some like desperate 16-year-old Bernie Sanders supporter. God damn.
It's like Iron Maiden are evil, patriots, nationalists, or something like that. Just trying so hard to push a message in the username.
So many fucking tryhards, I swear to God.
Abel said, "Nice new avatar, Rose." Yeah, you would know. You made it for me. And Democratize the Media said hi, and now is the perfect time for me to tell you that his channel is probably a good channel to check out, Steve, because he has asked me if I could.
Shall we check that out? Actually, let's have a little bit of a sidetrack. Actually, Democratize the Media. He has 180 subscribers, ultra concentrated media. He has uploaded a SpongeBob SquarePants commentary.
Hold
no,
the
actually,
fuck
no, he liked
on.
it. Wait, no, he did upload it, and it's been blocked by Viacom. Tom Hartman, the far left is inconsequential. Feminism is socialism, and socialism is feminism. Leftist media can't exist under capitalism. What? Questions for liberals. Whose side are you on? Nancy Pelosi desperately defends capitalism at town hall. Special snowflakes, Antifa, BLM, feminist, SJW, cucks resist.
They subscribe to
fascism.
They subscribe to Left Sphere, Sexy, or whatever it is. Anarcho Pack, the Communist Dragon. What?
Well, actually, that ZC guy is.
You can kind of tell from some of the thumbnails in his videos, because it actually shows a picture of him. That
changing my name to privatize the public library. Someone said in chat.
You look at some of the thumbnails that this guy has, because his, pictures of him are in some of the thumbnails, and it's like you look at him and basically every picture of him just makes him look like he's utterly fucking depressed.
I was gonna go stoned, actually, but
Well, some of them make him look stoned. The rest of them just make him look like he's really sad, like he's about to cry. It's wow.
Kind of feel bad.
I do. Wow. I feel a little bad for this guy. I do. I genuinely pity him.
Plug his channel to you before, and I keep forgetting. I forgot about it because I tried to do it, but you know how you normally don't always answer. You know how you don't always answer, like when people send you messages.
Yeah, I have a
Yeah, it's because I blocked them first.
I don't respond to a lot of messages
like...
because I've got 90% of Twitter on my block list. So obviously I'm not going to respond to messages because they can't send them in the first place.
Wait, what was he saying? I missed like a second of that.
Scroll back just a bit.
Answer. You know how you don't always answer, like when people send you messages.
Yeah, I have a bad habit of seeing someone has messaged me and then I say, "Oh, I'll get back to them later" because I'm doing something else, and then I never get back to them. So
pause it. Of course he doesn't get back to them. Oh, I'll get back to them later, but then I don't because I'm busy. Steve, I can almost guarantee exactly how busy you are, and by busy I mean you can't respond because you can't get to the computer because you're locked in that fucking kennel that your psychotic feminist fucking girlfriend or wife or whatever you want to fucking call her keeps you in there. The only time she brings you out is when she feels the need to either berate you or ride you like a goddamn rodeo clown.
And that too, and then I am like, oh shit. Yeah, like at night I'm like, oh, right before I'm about to go to bed, oh, I forgot to check this person back. I hope I didn't miss like something really important, like my friend like saying they need some help because they're thinking of harming themselves or something.
yeah.
Why is that something that you really need to talk about through Twitter, though?
You would think that'd be something that you'd deal with over a phone call.
Which is actually a horror that runs through my mind because it is something that happens to me a bit more frequently than a lot of people. I have a lot of friends who are mentally ill, so some people.
I have a lot of friends who are mentally ill. Well, probably because you're a fucking ANCOM, and a lot of your friends are too. You're mentally ill by default. Fuck.
No, I actually kind of feel sorry. You know, like, I'm actually not going to laugh at that. I'm going to be a bit of a moral fag here.
Of course, you're going to be a moral fag. You're always a moral fag. But I mean, I understand. I understand that it's something that does need to be given some kind of consideration and care to. I do understand that it's something that needs to be, in a sense,
like a lot of these
pitied,
people, honestly.
Damn.
Honestly, a lot of these people on the left do have these really big mental health issues, and I do feel bad for these people. I genuinely do. But you can't just go around blaming everyone else for flaws that are probably your own. You have to work with your flaws and try to work past them. I genuinely feel, you know, I am going to moral fag a bit here because I have noticed this trend a lot with people on the left is that they do have these sort of not severe mental health issues like brain damage or anything like that, or even something like autism or something like that. I'm talking about things like depression and psychosis and borderline personality disorders and things like that. I have noticed that. That is a very common trend with people on the left, and you know, you can try and deny that. But
it is in its own way a very sad and depressing kind of thing in and of itself, but at the same time, as much as you tell yourself, I literally feel bad for these people. I literally want to get these people help. At the same time, it needs to be understood that these are the kinds of people who, if you're not within their ideological camp, they'll refuse any kind of help you offer. And a lot of the people who are in their ideological camp won't offer any kind of help to them because they see it as normal.
Exactly. And they're just as bad as they are in a sense. It's just fueling into itself. I just feel kind of
a lot of the problem with these people who are severely on the left, but also at the same time may have some sort of psychological or neurological conditions.
Well, I'll tell you what it is.
The biggest issue is that a lot of them,
with the postmodernism philosophy, I think a lot of it is a denial of reality. And when reality comes, it's kind of like that South Park thing where reality's here. It's
like when reality gets up on the stage, it's like, do you feel fucking good about yourselves? You raised $1 million to spend $999,000 on a bunch of fucking filet mignon and crystal glasses. Do you feel good about yourselves?
Mm.
And that's
Exactly.
that's a general problem with plenty of people on the left. Not a lot of people, but plenty of people on the left. Is that some of them do genuinely have neurological or psychological conditions that that it would be good for them to get some kind of help or support with. And the problem being is that they're so unwilling to listen to offers of help from from those of opposition ideologies or opposition political perspectives, and those within their own camp, those within their own little echo chamber and their own little ideological fortress are so unwilling to actually recognize these issues, but even if they do, they're so unwilling to actually present any possible solutions or any possible care for them. Because this brings us into the whole issue about transgenderism and the 76 fucking genders and gender dysphoria and all this other shit. Is that so many people on the left who are stuck in this kind of mindset are just so willing to accept it and just think that these people are just special. They're different. Instead of recognizing any kind of inherent difficulties or dangers or problems that may arise from them.
Yeah, I agree with the whole. It's personally, on a personal level, I do actually disagree with. I'm not going to hold it against anyone who decides to do it. I'm not going to say, "Oh, you're a worse person for doing it." It's just something I'm personally against transsexuality because I think it stems. I think the worst thing you could do is to go through the process of changing your sex and then realizing you aren't satisfied and realizing that you have to stick with something that could have been prevented. You have misdiagnosed the problem. I'm not saying that's always the case. I think people have, successfully had their sex change. But if you're going to do it, you need to be fucking sure that it's the right course of action.
And that's why when I look at transgenders, when I look at transsexuals and all those, I look at it in the way of this is something you need to very, very carefully and very closely. You need to consider. You need to look at. You need to examine. Because you can't like all these spastic vegan severe left-wing fucking lesbian couples start forcing this shit on your fucking children.
I would limit the age. I would limit it to 25 before you can have a sex op, in my opinion. Because before then, I don't think you're quite mature enough to really weigh the severity of the decisions up.
Oh, no doubt about it, because of the simplistic fact that even by 21, 22, 23 years old, most people are still both physically and mentally developing. And so you just don't know. You can't be absolutely certain. And once you reach a certain age, a certain threshold, is when, if this is something that has been with you for a long time, if this is something that you, by the age you're 25, 26, that you're absolutely certain of, then I can see some inherent reality to it, some kind of some kind of neurological aspect to it, because that's essentially what it is. It's neurological, and that's why a lot of transition therapies with hormones and surgeries and stuff like that take place. But these people who are like, they're 16 years old. They're like, well, I feel like more of a girl than I am a boy. I feel like more of a boy than I am a girl. It's like you're 16. You literally have no fucking idea. You're still developing. You are not complete. You have no idea. It's as simple as that. Or God forbid these fucking parents, like these, super fucking progressive vegan ass lesbian couples who adopt a child, and just because a little boy decides they like playing with Barbies more than they like GI Joes, you must be a girl, and you're 6 or 7 years old, so we're going to push you into hormone therapy and completely irrevocably destroy your hormonal development. Just fuck. God, I can't believe the stream's already been going for almost 2 hours. We're only 15 minutes in. I was a little fucking generous when I said we might have to make this a 2-parter. I genuinely think we might have to make this like a 4-parter at this point.
It's just something that happens, and nothing wrong with the person, but I mean, you want to make sure your friends are safe.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would feel terrible if, somebody reached out to me and I didn't get back to them right away and then something happened. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's a limit to what I can do. It's not like I can physically restrain them. Like if I have a friend back from my hometown, these are usually the friends I'm talking to, and I'm a 45-minute drive away. It's not like I can physically restrain them by like the power of technology. I can't reach my arms through a computer screen or through a phone screen to hug them or anything, like something that they like feel like they desperately need.
Yeah.
And so like sometimes I've got to like reach out to people and see what I can do to like say, hey, I am concerned about this person, and I want you to know that I'm concerned about this person because I know that you know this person and that you can help them out if something is about to go bad.
Yeah.
Chief Scowbell says, Steve, I know you hate white supremacy, but what do you think of violence against it? I personally endorse it, but that's because my avatar has a swastika crossed out, so I've committed to the idea. I'm not sure I could answer it because this guy's basically saying, I know you hate...
Hang on, someone has suggested in the chat if we move it to 1.5 speed.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I didn't even know you could do that. Nice.
White supremacy, but how do you feel about people punching white supremacists?
Personally, I don't care. I think I would stop short of advocating it, of saying go out and punch white supremacists, like go out and look for white supremacists to punch. But if I hear that a white supremacist got his ass kicked, I'm going to say, oh, good. I mean,
because okay, white supremacy is not. I think everyone, you, me, Steve, and that other guy will agree that white supremacy is bad. Okay, now let's take our own pretensions that we are right on this issue away. Let's pretend that this is indeed subjective, which it is. Politics is subjective.
Of course it is. It always is.
You are basically punching somebody in the name of a very subjective opinion, which could actually be more correct than your opinion. I'm not saying it is. In fact, I disagree that it is.
This is the inherent issue, is that regardless of your political or ideological perspective, regardless of their ideological or political perspective, regardless, is that you are not only willing, but accepting and or endorsing violence against people based on political or ideological differences. You are either committing, endorsing, or supporting politically motivated violence. This is the inherent point. And this is the point I love to bring up to these people all the time, is when I love to tell them, all right, you look through all of recent history. Who were the people most willing to use politically or ideologically motivated violence against their opposition? It was one of two people. It was either fascists or communists, both of which fell under severe totalitarian ideology. Both of which. So, would you rather I call you a commie? Of course you would, because commie doesn't have as much negative impact as fascist does. But you know what? At the same time, it's a totalitarian tactic. So at the same time, I'm more than willing to sit there and say, if you are committing, endorsing, or supporting politically motivated violence against your ideological opposition, as far as I'm concerned, to me, you are a fascist. One way or another, you're a fucking fascist.
And here's the thing, he only mentions white supremacists here, but does he think Sargon is a white supremacist? Does he think Sargon is on the same level as Richard Spencer and the likes of the the skinheads that went around punching Antifa? Does he think Sargon and people like that are worth punching?
Oh, I'm sure he does, just by dint of the fact that Sargon is, one, white, and two, doesn't agree with the social justice, feminist, far left, progressive fucking ideology. Just by dint of that, these people can be generally, and I'm sure Steve Shives falls into this, convinced that these people are white supremacists. They're fascists. They're Nazis. So it's okay to beat them up because, hey, remember in 1945 when we were killing Nazis? That's the same fucking thing, but hey, we're toning it down nowadays because we're peace-loving and progressive people. We're not gonna kill Nazis. We're just gonna beat the shit out of them.
I am gonna moral grandstand here a little bit. I'll admit that I'm moral grandstanding here, but Steve, you would probably want this to happen to me and Naskatan if you ever watched to this point, which you won't, but you would probably want this to happen to us because we are opposing you and we are opposing identity politics. And I know I said earlier, if you're going to treat us like shit, we're going to treat you like shit, but we don't want this to happen to you or any. The only people that we're not going to lose sleep over this happening to are the people who actively incite the violence. I don't want this to happen to you, Steve. You have not done anything to deserve this, and neither have these people. So the fact that you consider this laughable is disgusting.
Well, see, this is generally the point, is that these people are so willing to commit violence in the name of political or ideological perspectives. And they can toss around weasel words and they can try to play it off all they want as, somehow not being violence or, it's self-defense because Nazis are inherently evil and aggressive and we're just defending ourselves or some stupid shit like that. But you know what? It doesn't matter. You are hurting people in the name and on the basis of political and ideological perspectives. It would be absolutely no different. And before I even get into that, the problem being is that a lot of this violence is happening according to completely bullshit perspectives. In that so many people on the progressive left, so many people on the far, far left are so willing to just label people Nazis, to label them fascists. They don't know these people. They don't know their political perspectives. They don't know what their positions on any particular issue are, as long as they disagree with you on anything, really, they're suddenly labeled a Nazi or a fascist, and magically it becomes all right to punch them or hurt them or beat them with flagpoles in the middle of the road while they're unconscious. Berkeley. Here's the thing, though. I am absolutely sure that they would be throwing Steve, and plenty others would be throwing a shit fit if a bunch of these people, who they are so willing to attack, started beating the shit out of and punching people who they consider commies, who were also the basic equivalent of fucking fascists. They're totalitarian shitholes. That's all they are.
Here's the thing. Imagine if me, well, not necessarily me, but a bigger YouTuber like TJ or Sargon or Kraut or somebody said, you deserve to be beating up. He was saying the same thing that Steve was saying here, only to the kinds of people like Steve. The amount of victim points he would play, the amount of, the amount he tried to ride off this as if he's somehow a victim would be an absolute tidal wave. He is a hypocrite of the highest order.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it whatsoever. They're so willing to literally physically harm people because of ideological or political perspectives. But God forbid, the minute somebody were to do it to them, which by their own logic, by their own reasoning, is just as justified, they would be throwing a fucking fit. They would be throwing up a shitstorm and acting like such fucking victims. Like God forbid somebody were to walk up to Steve Shives and just beat his ass with a flagpole. When he finally fucking wakes up, how quick he would be to set up a GoFundMe for, a bunch of Nazis beat me up. A bunch of Nazis hurt me. They're so terrible, I'm so pure. Give me tens of thousands of dollars. God forbid.
I don't feel bad about it at all. A lot of the way I view things like that is I figure out where my sympathies lie. You know what I mean? Like, and if you're talking about just a random person, if you said to me, Steve, somebody was just walking down the street minding their own business, and then somebody ran up to them and beat the shit out of them, I would probably say, oh, that's awful. That should never happen. What a terrible thing. Why would anybody do that?
Blitzer got punched in the.
Which is
when people you disagree with.
Which is so goddamn funny, considering when you look at the situation like in Berkeley, where people were quite literally just walking down the street, minding their own goddamn business, doing absolutely nothing but just walking down the damn street, probably going back to their goddamn apartment because, hey, classes are over, so fuck it, I'm gonna go home, or some shit like that. And these people were attacked in the streets. They were beaten. They were punched. They were kicked. They were, smashed with flagpoles. And yet, Steve would be like, oh, that's so great. That's so great. Bash the fash. Because we can't have this hate speech. Because hate speech is violence. Even though these people were doing absolutely nothing. And the entire thing began with, oh, God forbid, Milo Yiannopoulos was on campus to give a fucking speech, and a bunch of fucking Antifa fuckwits decided, hey, we're gonna start attacking the fucking building and then demand he come out here so we can give him a public trial of execution.
You were like, I hope it happens to him again.
Yeah, because we don't live in theory world, we live in real world. And if you tell me that just some
That's ironic. That's really ironic.
random stranger got beat up and I don't know anything else about them, I'll probably just assume that they didn't mean any harm and they shouldn't have been beaten up, and I'll think, oh, that's terrible. But if you tell me that like a professional white supremacist or a dude walking down the street with a swastika t-shirt, or someone who's like known to be a skinhead, or just somebody like that,
1988 tattoo on their neck, or
Pause it.
somebody with like some that are
somebody walking down the street, somebody who's walking down with a swastika T-shirt, or someone who's a known white supremacist or a known skinhead. How many fucking white supremacist, Nazi-loving, swastika-wearing skinheads do you fucking know? How many people that fit that description are in this country? Out of 350 million, I can guarantee. You know how big the numbers are? Really, Steve? Do you know how big the numbers are? Less than 10,000. In a country of 350 plus million people, there are less than 10,000 active, certified white supremacists, neo-Nazis, people who will proudly walk around with swastikas, swastika T-shirts, walk around with little flags, claim, screaming for the killing of Jews and niggers and whatever else. Less than 10,000 in 350 million. How fucking many do you think are running around cities like Berkeley or Davis or Houston? How fucking many, Steve? The majority of them are in the South, and they're in a bunch of innocuous, middle of the fuck nowhere fucking villages. These people aren't in major metropolitan areas, and yet you're so happy to just label these fucking people and completely excuse it when innocent people are beaten the shit out of.
And what's more, I don't care what people are wearing on their clothes. People wear political symbols all the time. People wear Che Guevara shirts, and people don't. A few Republicans throw a fit over it, but they don't beat people up for it.
Yeah, and that's another completely different point. That's another completely different point. It's like, it doesn't matter what they're wearing. It doesn't matter what belief or ideology or political perspective or religion or whatever the fuck they may believe in. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. You want to know why? Because unless these people have directly done something heinous, have directly harmed people, have directly committed violence, unless these people have done something, performed actions that are horrible and negative and degradatory to society, you have, in this country, the United States of America, no fucking right to harm these people, because to do so simply based on some kind of ideological or political perspective, because you presume these people that, that guy, well, we know he's a white supremacist. We know he's a neo-Nazi. So we have to beat the ever-living shit out of him. What is he, if he's done nothing wrong, if he has harmed or hurt nobody, if he has performed no crimes, if he has done nothing to harm, injure, or endanger anyone whatsoever, and basically just kept to himself, and the only thing you have against him is his beliefs and his perspective, that makes you the fucking Nazi when you feel the need to go and direct your anger and your violence at this person. You're the Nazi in this situation, Steve.
Broadcasting some Nazi shit, or are known to be like a white supremacist or a Klans member or something like that, and they were walking down the sidewalk and somebody popped them, that's different, because that's a bad person.
Why are they a bad person? Why
Whoa!
Can't they just believe
No. I want to bring up exactly a point right there. They're just walking down the street and someone popped them. I'm sorry, but in the United States, to just walk down the street and pop somebody, that means to fucking shoot them. Which means essentially that Steve is perfectly fucking okay with, even if someone is a white supremacist, a KKK member, a neo-Nazi, whatever, and everybody fucking knows it, but they have done nothing wrong and they have harmed nobody, if they're just walking down peacefully down the fucking street and somebody walks up to them and shoots them in the fucking head, Steve's okay with that. That's inherently what he's saying.
I thought he meant
Jesus.
pop by punch.
No.
I mean, maybe that's just my British.
No, in the United States, when you pop somebody, that means you're shooting them. You're capping their ass. You're popping them. You are pulling a gun and you are blowing at them. That's what that means in the United States, to pop somebody.
But my point was that You can't make a judgment that somebody is a bad person solely based on their ideology. You know, maybe they have a wrong ideology. That doesn't make them a bad person. You know, I disagree with a lot of people, but that doesn't make them bad people because I disagree with them on a lot of things.
Well, yeah,
In fact,
I know a lot of
thing,
I know a lot of communists. I know a lot of Stalinists. I know a lot of I know communists, Stalinists. I know fascists. I know neo-Nazis. I know a shit ton of fucking people. I know all kinds of people who hold beliefs and ideological perspectives that, historically speaking, have been implemented in very violent ways. But these people personally, you know, regardless of their politics, regardless of their perspective or their ideological outlook, these people, as far as I'm aware and as far as I've ever known them, have done nothing wrong. They've hurt nobody. They've put no one in danger. They've harmed not a single soul. They just have these feelings. They have these thoughts. They have these beliefs. And that's it. And as far as Steve seems to be concerned, just having these beliefs and thoughts is worthy of getting attacked and assaulted for. That is scary as shit. I mean, I'm a fucking liberal. I'm a liberal, dyed-in-the-wool liberal. I always have been and always will be. God forbid the day ever comes when people like Steve get so much power, when their ideology gains so much influence that even liberals are seen worthy of targeting for physical violence.
Well, you've seen the picture liberals get the bullet too.
Oh yeah, I saw the shit from Berkeley. I saw the shit from Berkeley. I've been seeing all that crap from UC Davis. I've been seeing all tons of crap from Mizzou and Evergreen College. And I know it's not a threat to me right now. I know it's nothing I have to be concerned about at the moment. But God forbid, these people gain any kind of political or social power. This scares the shit out of me in that regard.
Well, this is the good news, is that they are losing a lot of power, and that's a great thing. They are losing power. It's falling. You know, their kingdom is falling apart, you know, in front of their eyes, and they know it. They are losing.
It absolutely is. And if the situation in Evergreen College is a prime example of that. I mean, because God forbid, every piece of information, every video, every speech that these people make or they force on the faculty or staff, that they record, that they release to the public, and then later demand to get removed, every single bit of it shows the public at large that these people are fucking psychotic. And the overwhelming majority of the populace are just like, whoa, just wow, these people are crazy. Because I mean, I just recently watched the interview that Joe Rogan did on his podcast with Brett Weinstein, or whatever you want to call him. And the guy was making the point that, you know, that these protesters, you know, quite literally had the president of the college in a hostage situation. They kidnapped him, essentially. Like, the guy couldn't even go to the bathroom without an escort of 2 protesters. And these people are psychotic. It's plain and simple. And the more this information continues to be disseminated into the public view, the more these people begin to realize, not these people, but the more that the public begins to realize that these people are off their fucking rockers. These people are far too extreme. These people are taking shit way too far. And this is absolutely inappropriate. This is absolutely wrong in a country like ours, in a constitutional representative democracy, in an egalitarian Western nation such as ours.
Person, I'm willing to say that. I'm willing to say if you are in the KKK or you are a neo-Nazi or you promote white supremacy, that you are a bad person. That's not something you should do.
Or you just disagree with them.
That's a bad thing. And if somebody finds you on the sidewalk,
and I disagree with you too, Steve. does that mean that I'm allowed to punch both of you? Because I'm pretty sure you wouldn't like that. And I'm pretty sure the neo-Nazis don't like being punched, and I'm pretty sure you wouldn't like being punched for your political opinions.
Well, see, that's essentially the thing is, the people like Steve and so many others are so willing to, even without evidence, even without any kind of, even circumstantial evidence, are so willing to label people as white supremacists and Nazis and all this, and KKK members and all this kind of shit, and then justify their violence against them because of that basis. Well, at the same time, Steve, sorry to say, but if I really cared to, if I genuinely cared to, I could sit here and I could conflate this entire argument into how you are some kind of, extremist, communist, left-wing fucking Marxist, terrorist, and that, God forbid, if I ever went up to Maryland and I found you on the streets, I would feel justified in beating the shit out of you. It's the exact same thing.
And knock your teeth out. I'm not going to feel sorry for you. I'm going to say, oh, well, that's just what happens. And I'll even go a step further and say, and if it happened the next time you walked out of your house, I wouldn't have a problem with that either. I mean, I can't summon any sympathy in my heart for people like that. I feel sympathy for the people they're trying to hurt, not for the people that hurt them.
What people they're trying to hurt? What people?
Hang on. Wait a second. I thought for a second there he said, I feel sympathy for the people that are trying to hurt. Wait, I'm going to have to slow that down because I need to clarify that. But
you can turn the speed to 1.25, I think.
I'll just put it on normal a sec. I just want to see.
In my heart for people like that. I feel sympathy for the people they're trying to hurt, not for the people that hurt them.
That's not very clear. I can't tell if he's saying the people they are trying to hurt.
He feels sympathy for the people that these, neo-Nazis, KKK members, these fascists are trying to hurt, not for the people that are hurting them.
And guess what? People feel sympathy for the people you're trying to hurt. It cuts both ways, Stevie.
See,
that's another great fucking. Oh shit! I opened the console.
No, not for them being hurt.
Oh shit! I missed the good screenshot there. I accidentally pressed F12 as if I was playing a Steam game.
How dare you!
In my heart for people like that. I feel sympathy for the people they're trying to hurt, not for the people that hurt them.
Oh my god, look at his droopy ass little Down syndrome eye there. It's so fantastic.
It was a little bit better earlier, but
even then I love the fact that I can say right now he at this moment he's pulling a full Anita Sarkeesian.
Not for them being hurt. I have no sympathy whatsoever for people like that. So like if Richard Spencer gets the shit kicked out of him every time he pokes his head through his door, that doesn't bother me at all. So and some people might say, well, what's the difference between that and just saying, we'll go ahead and advocate violence? I mean,
he feels nothing if Richard Spencer gets his ass kicked every time he just walks out his door. Well, I would have a genuine fucking question for you, Steve. If you're listening to this, Steve, which I doubt because you're a fucking pussy and you couldn't get past the first 5 minutes where we ripping into your shit, I have a genuine fucking question. You don't feel any sympathy for Richard Spencer if he gets his ass kicked every time he walks out his door. Well, here's my genuine question. What has Richard Spencer done? Who has he hurt? What harm has he caused? What has he done except for just express his views? Whose lives are in danger? Who has he harmed? Who's in the hospital? Who's in the grave? Nobody. Nobody has suffered even remotely because of a single word that Richard Spencer has said. And you're so happy to sit here and say that, oh, if Richard Spencer gets his ass kicked every time he walks out the door, I'm perfectly fine with that. Well, you know what? By that same fucking logic, then it's no different than if Richard Spencer is more than happy with you getting your ass kicked every time you walked out your door. It's the same bullshit. It is the exact same
maybe there isn't
ideological garbage. It's the exact same politically motivated, just fucking screeching and autistic bullshit. And, hey, I don't agree with you, so fuck it, you need to die. You fucking fascist. Fuck.
Huge difference. I mean, I'm not saying go out and find Nazis and beat them up. But I am saying if I hear that a Nazi gets beaten up, I'm not going to care. And I'm not going to waste my breath trying to argue about,
So why should we care when you get beaten up? Why should we care?
Well, that's entirely the point. I don't care if a Nazi's beat up. Well, who the fuck are you to determine who is and who is not a Nazi? This is not
And who are you to say, who are you to say that these people are deserving of being beaten up and deserving of being thrown to the wayside?
Jesus.
oh, you shouldn't do that. That's a bad thing.
Richard Spencer, because, it's not like he's calling for genocide. Oh, wait. Oh, no, he's calling for...
You fucking morons. He's not... If you actually paid attention to Richard Spencer, he isn't actually calling for genocide. He's saying there is a white genocide, which is fucking retarded. I agree. But he is not actively saying we need to kill as many people as possible, because he would be arrested if he said that.
Richard Spencer is not calling for a fucking genocide. Not even fucking close. He mentions a white genocide, which as a concept is completely fucking retarded. And what does he advocate for in terms of blacks and Hispanics and minorities and non-white people? What does he advocate for? Not a fucking genocide. He's not advocating for killing these fucking people. He's not advocating for putting them in concentration camps or slave labor. He's advocating at most for just getting them out of our fucking country. That's it. That's it. And that's it. It's not killing them off. It's just sending them the fuck away.
I don't agree with it, but that's what he believes.
Well, yeah, it's a bullshit perspective, and it's stupid, and it goes against American ideals. But that's all he's advocating for, is that at most he's advocating for, all right, take the brown people, take the black people, take the Asians, take everybody who isn't white, and just ship them out, just send them back to their own fucking countries of origin, send them, just get them the hell out of here. That's what Richard Spencer is advocating. He's not sitting there advocating for a final fucking solution. But at the same time, by the sound of it, you're more than happy to recommend some kind of final. You're more than happy to completely forgive, by the sounds of it, some kind of final solution against, quote unquote white supremacists, be them white supremacists or not. It's just whoever you perceive to be.
This is a completely unrelated thing, but I think this is hilarious. All right.
Very loud. Very loud.
Basically, Jeremy. Hang on a second. I'm being fucking interrupted. Hang on. Right.
I just need to say real
Daily
quick.
Stobart.
I take it that was your mother, and I just have to say, if you do want to make her feel a little bit better at the fact that she's frustrated with how loud you're being, do let her know that the person you were on stream with does find her voice and her accent to be quite posh and quite friendly, and at the same time very I don't know, there's something about her voice. It just seems, it comes across as very motherly. Just saying. I know, I'm just saying. Her voice is very motherly.
Stormer. Yeah, the Daily Stormer has, Andrew Anglin in specific has posted a article saying, this is real. I'm not joking about endorsing Jeremy Corbyn. He is actually endorsing Jeremy Corbyn in the British election, Andrew Anglin.
Really?
I am not joking, and I will...
Please link me to that.
I'll put it in the Hangout so you can post it in the chat.
Please do. Let's look at this real quick. Once it fucking loads. I don't know why. It's so slow. Okay. All right, the Daily Stormer. This is real. I'm not joking about endorsing Jeremy Corbyn by Andrew Anglin. Apparently, some people think I'm engaged in some kind of childish prank in telling Brits to vote for Jeremy Corbyn. I'm not. I'm actually literally endorsing him and encouraging all of my readers to go tick the box and get everyone they know to do the same. I should have started memeing this earlier. Memeing it. But it didn't really look like there was much of a chance. Now there is a chance. A recent poll had Theresa only 1 point ahead. Let's just go point by point here. Always vote Tory because they're harder on immigration. The main argument against voting Corbyn is that Tory is harder on immigration. This is just factually inaccurate. Which, if you do look at the numbers, it is, because while the Tories do have targets set for immigration on a regular basis, they very rarely are capable of meeting them. Yada, 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 a bunch of charts. Theresa is the female Cameron. No one even argues that point. And she is not going to do anything different with immigration than Corbyn would do. So this, the main argument against Corbyn, is based on nothing. Also, for the record, though I don't think many people care about this, Cameron was less fiscally responsible than Tory.
Just scroll to the bottom for the image macro at the end of Vote Corbyn. This man is your friend one.
There's so many pictures. What is it with the Daily Stormer and so many pictures? Vote Corbyn! This man is your friend. He gasses the kikes. God damn it.
Anyway, I think I'm going to head now, actually, just for a bit, because there's shit going on in the house. So, yeah, we'll get back to the stream at some point. We are at the... We're at 20 minutes in.
Yeah, we're at 20 minutes and 17 seconds. God, we've been streaming for almost 2.5 hours, and we've only made 20 minutes in. That's crazy. So undoubtedly, this is going to be a multi-part stream. I'm sorry for dragging you into a multi-part stream, because I know it could be bothersome. But at the same time, you know, it was very, very nice to have your perspective on the shit that Steve Shives was saying and all that. And
yeah, no problem.
I do appreciate you actually coming onto my stream and tweeting it out to all your, 3 times as many fucking followers as I have and everything. So
follow Wolf.
Yeah, please do. I mean, if you aren't following me already, do follow at the Wolf's Word, because not only do I occasionally make interesting political insight, I also do like to shitlord quite a bit, so you might get a little entertainment about that. And if you're not following Fox from the West, I do highly recommend that you follow his account as well on Twitter, because not only can he be politically insightful, but he's also very funny. He's a shitlord in spirit. He absolutely is. But I do appreciate you coming on, Fox, and we'll definitely have to get back to this, and we'll start at the 20-minute mark next time we do this.
Yeah, all right, man.
Right, yeah, because this is definitely going to be a multi-part series. All right, so thank you all for coming along, and thank you Fox from the West for joining me in this little discussion. All right, and to everyone I say, thank you kindly. It's been good. Ciao.
And perhaps not that careful.
Who the fuck you think you're talking to?